Special thanks to the first. So, you wanna be a healer. Well, that's nice, but that's not what we do here. Because this is a sage. A walking false advertisement. Its method of healing subscribes to the deterrence theory, because the only way it can heal anyone is by shooting a bad guy with doses, which does a little bit of damage to a specific enemy and even less healing to a specific ally. And how you can specify which lucky son of a gun gets this tinkle of healing is by using an ability called Cardia, which applies a buff to the selected party member that allows them to be affected by your doses healing and your Lucron doses shielding, which we'll get to in a moment. As simple as it is, managing Cardia is one of the most difficult aspects of playing Sage, so I recommend getting real good with Cardia swapping. Mouse over macros help a lot here. It also entirely deactivates if the Cardia target dies, so you want to keep a close eye on that. They can also superpower doses with an ability called Ukrasia, which turns it into a dot that ticks as hard as a normal doses 4 times. So you're essentially doing a slow quad attack at the press of one button. It's pretty gnarly. It also applies a shield to the Cardia target that actually has a lot of benefits to it, unlike its healing counterpart. It blocks a pretty decent amount of damage before breaking, and when it does break, it gives you a stack of Adder Sting for 10 seconds, which allows you to have a free use of a strong instant cast attack called Toxicon 2, which deals a pretty fair amount of damage to one target and a small amount to AoE, but the kicker to it is that it applies a debuff to everyone it hits that increases damage taken by 10%. It only lasts 5 seconds, but it can be super strong when timed well. You also have the normal version of Toxicon that you can use just about any time, and it applies the same debuff as the empowered version. It's one of the weakest damaging spells in PvP though, so you're mostly going to want to use it for the debuff. You also have 2 charges of Icarus, which is a mobility option you can use to either engage into an enemy or disengage to an ally. Now you may be wondering, why would I want to dash to an enemy that's most likely trying to come and kill me? Well, that's where the big guns come into play. Sages have a melee ranged attack called Phlegma, which does a lot of damage to the target and every other bad guy nearby for the same amount. You have 2 charges of this thing, so you can really slam someone with it. And then there's Pneuma. This ability is what gives Sage a leg in the healing competition. It deals even more damage than Phlegma, except in a really big line in front of you. It also gives everyone Haima, which is a 2k potency shield, and 5 stacks of Haimatanon, which is basically how many lives Haima has whenever it gets broken. If someone still has stacks of Haimatanon remaining after 10 seconds, they will be healed for 2,000 per stack. So essentially, it's Pneuma and Panhaima mashed into one button. It's really heckin' solid, and it's not even the limit break. The Sage's limit break is a Masotes. It's an AoE fuel that makes everyone inside of it invulnerable to attacks from the outside. The only exception is when an enemy player decides to run inside of it and grabs a debuff that the field constantly pulses every 3 seconds, which is a dot that does 8,000 damage per tick. So as long as they have this icon of OW on them, they're allowed to hit everyone inside the field. It only lasts for 5 seconds though, so they don't get a whole lot of free reign. This ability is both fun and very satisfying to pull off when used effectively, because you can deny an entire enemy's burst with it, and on top of that, you can ignore the lava map's AoE effects entirely with it. So it's super effective at holding the point. You can also press the limit break button one more time after you put it down to relocate it. You can only do this once though, so make it count. Sage is a strongly aggressive healer to the point where I feel like I'd fail a lie detector by calling it a healer. It does a heck load of damage when it's allowed to do its thing, and doesn't really do a whole lot of actual healing. It does have some really strong mitigation options though, which does help offset the fact that they have the lowest max health in PvP, right next to Black Mage. So you're gonna need to be very active to keep both yourself and your team alive during hectic moments. It may not help keep people alive during extended bursts, but it can help prevent a one-shot, so use that to your advantage and you can help turn the tide of battle. It's one of my favorite jobs to play, and it's my main job I use to push rating, so it's got my seal of approval. You know what else has my seal of approval? The folks on Patreon, who help me do what I do. So thank you very much for that. I really do appreciate it. Alright, that's about it. See ya!